the clip, boos pouring down in Atlanta, Indiana, walking off with an 87-85 stunner, and Caitlin Clark flashing a W while smiling. Here's what most people didn't see. La back. She doesn't toss the sign once. She repeats it while backing up, eyes never leaving the sections that booed the loudest. That's not taunting, that's message control. Teammates mirror her tempo. Quick claps, zero chest pounding, because the plan wasn't to fight the crowd. The plan was to own the moment. Tonight, we're not rehashing the highlight. We're decoding why it worked, what it tells you about the Fever's locker room, and how Angel Reese's reaction turned a viral clip into a bigger war for the WNBA's future. If this is the kind of breakdown you want showing up tomorrow, you know the tiny tap that tells the algorithm you're here. Roll it frame by frame. First, Clark glances left where the boos peak. Then hands rise, wrists tilt inward, W held for a beat, not flashed. She walks backward, still facing the noise. This matters. Walking backward says we're leaving, but not retreating. A teammate bumps her shoulder, micro nod, tempo stays even. What most fans miss is the tempo. Loud moments feel powerful, but even moments are harder to shake. Clark doesn't rush, doesn't flinch, doesn't search for a camera. She plays to the section, not the lens. That's crowdcraft, and it works because the scoreboard has already told the story. The W isn't a joke, it's a verdict. Ask anyone who's been on a road bench during a hostile finish. You decide before the buzzer how you'll leave. The Fever's exit tells you a lot. Proners, no one points to the floor. No one smirks at opposing players. All eyes are forward, except Clark's. She makes eye contact with the crowd so her teammates don't have to. That's leadership as shield. The tiny tells lineup. Synchronized claps, quick shoulder taps, Coach Stephanie White's straight-ahead walk. You can't choreograph a raw celebration, but you can agree on composure. That's why the video plays like a single breath. And yes, it's poetic that the player in street clothes is the one setting the temperature. Tuck that away, we'll need it when Angel Reese enters. 9 out of 9 analysts picked Atlanta. Indiana's social team posts the grid. Caption, now you know. Caitlin's posts, Fever show, and then a full caps bang for Stephanie White. Here's the deeper thing most people miss. She doesn't quote critics, doesn't dunk on names, and doesn't make it about herself. She lifts the program. That's not just nice, it's efficient. You can't argue with a box score or a bracket. Proof in opinion. The strategy is simple. Don't fight the noise. Feed the receipts. It's why the clip kept growing after the game. The audience wasn't given a debate. It was given a document. If you're vibing with receipts over rants, quick love on the video tells us to keep delivering them. Another thing everyone talks around but rarely explains, how an injured player becomes the loudest presence in the building. Clark's been out since mid-July. That should shrink her footprint. Instead, it sharpens it. Watch the bench tapes. She's not over-gesturing. She's timing reactions. Stand-ups on momentum swings. Quick claps on role player wins. Constant eye contact with the huddle. That rhythm turns the bench into a metronome the floor can lock to. The W moment is the payoff of weeks of that rhythm. It isn't a random spike of emotion. It's what leaders do when they've been building a pulse you can feel even on the road. And that's the dagger for haters. You can critique a shot selection. You can't critique pulse. You can't talk Caitlin Clark without the algorithm summoning Angel Reese. Not because the internet loves fights, but because it loves mirrors. These two are opposites in the ways that make rivalries work. Temperament, surgical versus electric. Communication, deadpan versus declarative. So when Clark throws the W, the timeline triangulates to Reese instantly. What does Angel think? Will she clap back? Is the rivalry back on? Within hours, her name trends. Maybe it's a post. Maybe it's a like. Maybe it's a pressed lip story that says everything without a word. Whatever it is, the conversation reignites. Here's what most people don't notice. Both fan bases use the same mechanism. Protect the queen. Clark stans call it composure. Reese stans call it authenticity. They're both right about their hero. And the league? It wins either way. Rivalries are free billboards. The new war Angel sparks isn't about who's good or bad. It's about who gets to define the era. If Angel's response started a new war, here are the rules nobody writes down. Ron writes, no one fights alone. Every post summons a million assistants in the comments. Clips beat takes. The side with the tighter edit wins the day. Class versus swagger is a false choice. The modern game needs both. Don't feed ghosts. Name an enemy and you multiply them. Show a moment and you own it. Keep it archetypal. Captain versus challenger. Calm versus chaos. Audiences track stories, not stats. Clark's W follows Rule 2 and 5 perfectly. Angel's Surge follows 1 and 3. That's why the same minute of footage can birth two thriving narratives without canceling each other out. Booing is loud, but it's also blurred, a wall of sound. The W cut through because it's visual audio, a clean, readable shape. Humans process shapes faster than syllables. Hold that thought and replay the moment. The crowd thinks it's roaring at the team. Clark turns it into a roar about a letter. That switch is why the clip travels beyond sports. People who don't know a single set or scheme still understand W versus boos. It's language-free drama. Want to know the quiet part even fewer people catch? She smiles without grinning, brows relaxed, shoulders down, the kind of smile that says this is funny to me, not I'm laughing at you. That saves the moment from going cheap and keeps it legend. Clark's shout out to Stephanie White matters more than people realize. Fans see X's and O's, players feel architecture. White's teams play within a structure that lets personality breathe, no small thing when your star is wearing a hoodie, not a jersey. The chorus, the teammates do one more subtle thing. They let Caitlin be the focal point of the exit, but they don't leave her alone on an island. Watch the frame edges, palms up, quick claps, the we move together body language. That's how you pull off a spicy moment without turning it into a brawl. Runfro's the strategic angle on Angel Reese most fans underestimate. She doesn't just respond, she reprices the conversation. When she engages, even ambiguously, brands, talk shows, and timelines pivot. That leverage means her smallest acknowledgement can match the virality of a Clark highlight. So yes, Angel's response sparks a new war. But notice the terrain, it's cultural, not personal. It's about who claims the mic when women's basketball enters living rooms that ignored it 5 years ago. Angel understands that volume is vision when you're still teaching the world where to look.